Okay, there we go. Perfect. So I want to welcome you all to the Ask to London live talk for this Tuesday. Our topic is reigniting love and joy and passion within your heart and your soul. Now, what I want to do in this talk is I'm going to share some tools and some tips, and then I'm going to give you some messages. I'm going to answer your questions. I know there's a lot of people that have registered, and we will send out the replay to you by the end of tomorrow. And everyone on the a live call, in case you missed something, I'll send that out as well. So basically, what I want to do is just get started right away. And what I want to talk about is basically that we are living in a world that there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's also a lot of people that are seeing things differently or feeling differently, or they're not understanding where they're at, why they feel the way they do, or there's situations coming up for people that they don't know why this is happening to me. Why am I going through this? Relationship issues, all these kind of things. And I want to help everyone to understand that it's really important. In our world now, there's a lot of stuff happening. And the biggest, greatest gift you can give yourself is to focus on yourself, focus on loving yourself, focus on looking at, where your focus is. What is it maybe you have to do differently if you feel different? What is it you have to do to bring excitement into your life? And I can tell you, like, I know some of your stories, and I know that it can be rough. Either you've lost a pet, you're going through divorce, maybe there's been abusive situations. There's all kinds of things happening to, various people with different situations. And the one thing that I want to say to each of you, that the big message I want to say to you is, each one of you, whether you are listening live or if you're listening recording, you all have loved ones, pets, and angels around you. They are surrounding you. And I want to let you know that you are never, ever alone in anything you're going through. And just sometimes when you feel like you're alone, I can tell you that they are there with you. And so talk to them. And basically, when I say talk to them, the people say, well, how do you know who to talk to? What I want to say is that, who were you close to? Who comes to your mind that's on the other side? Did you have a close connection with a grandparent? For me, it was my grandpa Buck. And an example, what he does for me is that I will just start singing Amazing Grace when he's giving me confirmation. And this last week, he's been giving me a lot of Amazing Grace. And my poor husband's hearing me sing Amazing Grace. And I was told in the school choir, like in public school, don't ever sing, just lip sing, because I threw off the sound. So my husband's, great guy, that he's hearing me singing Amazing Grace. So you might be, doing things like this, like saying things, or you might be singing things, or you might be seeing numbers. I think, Peter, you said you were seeing numbers, right? And so all of these are signs to know that the other side is with you. I can tell you that when my loved ones are kicking my butt, and I'm going to say my grandpa again, is that he was a heavy smoker, and I didn't like that. I don't like smoke, secondhand smoke. I hated all that. And so when he's trying to get my attention, I will smell smoke. So you see how one person can bring out two ways to connect with me, right? So you might feel like, if this is a pet, you might smell a wet dog. You might be hearing a pet, maybe at the back door, scratching on a door, or you might hear the little cat's paws, the nails going across the hardwood floor. Um, there are all kinds of ways that your pets, your loved ones, your angels, your spirit guides, they all connect with you. And so the biggest thing I want to say to you is, the first thing you want to be doing is love yourself first. And why I say that is, and I will tell you, I know firsthand, many years ago When I was told to look in the mirror and say, I love you, Sue, I couldn't do it. I could not do that for 3 weeks. And let's face it, a lot of us girls, Peter, I know you're the only guy on this call, but there are other people that might be listening. Girls go to the bathroom a lot, right? So we're always in front of a mirror, and I've got always all these opportunities to say I love you, Sue. I couldn't do it. So if you're listening to this call and you're at this place where you can't stand in front of a mirror and say I love you, know that you can do it. You are an amazing person. You are an incredible soul. You are here for a reason. Like each one of us are here to do something, to have an impact, and that impact could be teaching kids, it could be helping someone across the street. For me, I just aired like published a podcast that I just did this week, and it's all about the miracle of me listening to messages and thoughts I was getting. And my husband and I ended up taking our 11-year-old daughter with us to Las Vegas, and we created this a miracle of fulfilling a wish for an older man. You have to listen to that. So if you go to my YouTube, Ask Sue London, it's live now. So when you start loving yourself, you will hear the other side talk to you. You will feel them. You will become aware of the signs and the messages that they give you. And then if you're seeing numbers, I encourage you to look up what those numbers are and what they mean, because there's a huge conversation there going between you and them every time you see these numbers. For me, I have been seeing little baby bunnies all over our property. And that's another sign when you look up the spiritual meaning of rabbits. Um, Squirrels, that's about gathering information. That's been around me a lot as well. So we're all surrounded by all of these signs. So when you love yourself, you are focused on the present moment because you're an amazing person. Every time I see a lot of you, I tell you this because I mean it, and you are. So now I want some of you that are on the call or replays to know and start believing that, because when you fill your heart with love, miracles and magic begin to happen. Your energy becomes more positive, you manifest more in your life, you create miracles, you create relationships, you attract whatever it is that you want to have in your life, you grow spiritually, you have new abilities that open up, and so much more. So that's the first part, is about loving yourself. And I don't take this lightly when I say to you, get in front of a mirror and say I love you, because it is not easy if you're in a tough place. And I support you with that, and I want to encourage you that just be patient with yourself. And I'm telling you, I know you, and I'm telling you, you're an amazing soul. So if you have trouble to do that for yourself, take it at my word that I know you are an amazing person. Remember, I feel you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, right? Can't hide anything from me on that area. So that's your first part, okay? Now, the second part is, we're going to talk about joy. So the one thing that I see, I just recently got back from a trip. I was, talking about this before we started the recording. I just got back from a trip to Ocean City, Maryland. And it was just really interesting for me because I live in Canada and I do not see so much aggression and stress and anxiety like I do in United States. And I know that the first stop we made was at a gas station, and right away the lady was so filled with such anxiety and anger, and she was actually fearful when I walked through her door at the to get gas in the gas station. And I'm always someone, and this is what I want to encourage you, because some of you can do this, but you are doing this, but maybe not realize it. I always say to my husband, if I see someone in a bad mood, I want to crack them. I want to get them into a positive place. I want them to be happy and go from anger or sadness to being happy, because this is ultimately why we're here on this planet, is to share our love, to be happy, to be healthy, to have passion and joy in our life. And I can tell you, I've been to the other side twice, as many of you know, and that is exactly what heaven's like. And we're supposed to have that here, but sometimes people get, confused about all that. So when I was at the gas station, I was, like saying to the woman, it's a great day. And she kept coming back with complaints and how she hated people and all these different comments. And so I kept working with her in that. By the end of our conversation, she was actually giving me a hug, thanking me for coming into her place, and that she realized that she was putting everybody in the same category because of one situation that she had had earlier in that week. So don't hang on to stuff. If there's stuff that has happened in your day, in your week, in your month, or in years, let that go. Like, don't hang on to the grudges or the anger or the resentment or the past situations. Live in the moment. And I can tell you that how I start my day, and some of you have been asking me these questions, how do I do what I do? So every day, how I live my life is I am guided. I ask for guidance on everything that I do and everything that I say in these events. And I can tell you that everything I am saying now is not written down. I ask the other side to channel through me exactly what it is that you need to hear at this time. And this is how I live my life. So, what happens to me in a normal day? I will get up in the morning and I plan out 5 things that I'm going to accomplish that day. So, why am I telling you that? Is because some of you are really hard on yourself and you just like really bombard your schedule with like morning to night, constantly having to do something. And that's not what this is supposed to be like. You're supposed to have balance, the fun, the joy, the work, the play, right? So I plan my day and I meditate and then I ask. And who I ask, it will depend on the day. I just let it happen. So one day I might talk to my grandpa. One day I might talk to my dog Gus. Another day I might talk to my other grandma. Like it just whatever I feel, and that's what I want to encourage you to do is trust your intuition. Each one of you, if you've come to me, you're intuitive. There's no coincidences that you have found me at one point or another on our journeys together. So you do have these abilities. Some of you are questioning your abilities, and that's fine. We all have been there, right? But the best thing to do is to, you know, listen to what you need to do. And so, I will hear first of all who I have to talk to. I will then hear what my day is like. I always ask, what's my theme for the day? Now, I heard last Friday that I had to have a light schedule this week, and I'm really focusing on a lot of great opportunities coming to me, but I'm really focusing on what is it that I truly want? What is it that will give me the balance and but yet let me have my passion and let me do the things that I want to do. So I'm taking some time this week and I'm just focusing on me. And what I hear, I journal a lot. I write down whatever comes to me. I'm having a lot of dreams, and a lot of you may be having a lot of dreams. And I want to encourage you to pay attention to those dreams because they have such amazing messages in there. One day, gosh, when was this? This was, I guess, Thursday. I had a dream. It started that night where I was dreaming of my dog, Willie. Now, Willie was a little 12-year-old guy that we lost years ago. And when he crossed over, we had been up all night at, helping him cross and that at the emergency hospital. And the next day, again, God works mysteriously. We had to be at a church, and a friend of ours was becoming a minister, I can't think of the word. Oh my gosh. Um, she's becoming a minister. Okay. You know what I'm saying? The word will come to me about midnight. Anyways, so what happened? It was pouring rain and it was cold, and we had not gotten to bed till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We had a 3-hour drive to where we had to go. And I remember saying to my husband, Ross, do we have to go? Like, is this important? He said, we promise we'll be there. We're going to go. So we went, and I can remember the feelings that it was still, feeling and seeing how Willie's little soul came out of his body and everything. It was all still really fresh. But when I closed my eyes, I started seeing all these famous people and all this stuff was happening. And then, well, we were in the church, sudden this beam of light. Okay, remember it's a storm outside. This beam of light comes through the window and it shines right on the back of the pew where the seats where we were sitting. And right there, Willie appeared. And he said, Mom, it is your time to soar. I'm like, I'm hitting Ross. Is like, do you see that? Do you see that? And he was seeing the brightness as well. So what happened this past Thursday? Willie came to me again, and he said, it's time to grow even more. And so again, it, for me, my dreams are so real that I'm there with him, because I can also time travel in my sleep. Some of you understand that. And so I was having these experiences happening. And then I did this big event on the weekend, and it's literally changing things for me, exactly how Willie said would happen. So, we all have things happen, but if you get yourself in this present moment and you take that time to honor what it is you need to do, don't rush into stuff. Listen to what you feel, listen to what comes to you, the signs. We are so surrounded by signs, whether it is animals on this side or on the other side, or maybe you have a pet now that might be barking, or a cat acting unusual, looking at one space. Horses are standing on their feet when they're seeing others around there, and so many animals are acting differently. Birds. So be aware of what is right in front of you. Get yourself grounded. Okay. And when you get yourself grounded, you will see all the magic and miracles that are happening around you. And each one of you are being guided, and me as well. We are all being guided to what it is we're supposed to do at that day, or at that, week, or in your lifetime. We are all being guided. But in order to see that, you must have yourself present and in the moment, because without that, you will miss it all. And the more that you work on yourself, at loving yourself, and looking at these signs and all these things that are happening around you, and then following through and taking the action. Like you will hear in my podcast that I talked about helping the man. That was incredibly the biggest magic that I had ever experienced. That we were given this free trip to Las Vegas, and we had just been on our honeymoon 6 months earlier. This is going back 22, 23 years now. And this phone call comes in, and we're asked to go. And right away I said to Ross, no, we've been to Hawaii. There's no comparison. And we're very like laid back, and we like nature. We don't like the gambling and drinking. That's not our energy. We don't like that. But anyways, all of a sudden I heard, you have to go. You have to go on this trip. And then I heard, and you have to take your 11-year-old daughter. Now, who in their right mind takes a young child to Las Vegas? If you've have y'all been to Las Vegas, do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not really a place where you'd go as a family trip, right? But we heard we had to take her. And the things that unfolded on that trip were that we, like other trips, we're always being given signs and guidance and direction on who we have to help. Every trip I can tell that I have taken in many, many years, we will tell you not about what the sites were, or the entertainment or any of that stuff, but it was the person that we were sent, or the pet that we were there sent to help. And that's where my journey is. And so we were being sent to help an older man that was in Las Vegas. And how it unfolded, the trip was free, the hotel was free. We're standing out, just walking, thinking, okay, when's it going to happen? Where's the signs? Where's the messages? Like, where, guide us? We kept asking, all three of us, our daughter as well, because we see this every trip. And so what happened was all of a sudden this man came up to me and said, I have some tickets for you. And it wasn't, his energy was just very angelic and very calm and peaceful. And that's what really stood out for me. And when things stand out for me, they glow. And this is another thing about me that I want to share with you, because you may have a feeling about somebody that is going to guide you. You might feel peace from them. For me, they glow, and so they might look different to you as well. So this is where I say take note of all this stuff that happens around you. So what happened, this man says, I have tickets for a dinner, for a show, and there was something else, I'm forgetting something. Dinner, show, and I can't remember what the third thing is. You'll have to listen to the recording. I can't remember so much here tonight. So anyways, so we went, and so we heard exactly the time to go for dinner. We went. We were standing in line, and what happens for me is when I get a message or a sign that I get a look on my face, is apparently what my husband tells me. I don't know what the look looks like. I need to get him take a picture of me to see how goofy it looks, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, I just turned to him. I got the look, and I said, the reason why we're here is standing right behind me now. I hadn't turned. I just felt this energy from this person. And what happened within me, when you are present, this can happen to you as well. So, what happened to me was I was feeling in my body physical heartache. I was feeling physical pain in his heart. I was feeling sadness, loneliness, feeling all of these emotions. Now, this man, he was 74 years old. His name was John, and I didn't know his name, or I didn't know his age or anything like that. I just heard the reason why we're there was right behind me. So I leaned into Ross and I said, the one who's standing behind me, you have to invite him to join us for dinner, because that's the message I heard what to do. So I'm telling you that because a lot of you are getting messages or thoughts, let's call them, to do something, but you're not taking action. And that's where you're missing the magic and miracles happening in your life. So I want to encourage you, when you get a thought, just know there is no thought stupid or wrong. Okay. It's all right. You are being guided. So, anyways, what happened? Ross said to this man, would you like to join my wife and daughter and I for supper? And right away, the man was very embarrassed because he felt embarrassed because he was staring at me. And he said to Ross, your wife has such kind eyes and you're a lucky man. He just kept saying, you're a lucky man, you're a lucky man. So, anyways, we got him convinced. He joined us for dinner. And then what happened was I just asked God, his angels, and whoever was around this man to guide me with how I was supposed to help him. Each one of you can do this. You just have to trust what you hear. And so the long story short of it was that the reason why we had to bring the 11 our 11-year-old daughter was that I got the message from his wife, who happened to have just crossed over a couple months earlier. And the reason why he was on this trip was because he was there fulfilling her dying wish. And that was, he had to promise her that he would go back to the same casino where they stayed for 39 years. Every year, the same weekend, same room. That's the toughest thing somebody has to go through, right? In Las Vegas, you don't have people supporting you like this, right? But we were guided to be there to help him. And so, anyways, he's telling us about his wife, why he was there. And then I said, what if you had one wish, what would that be? And he said that would be to make my 11-year-old granddaughter a Sunday, but she lives on the other coast. And I'm just too weak and frail to travel across the country to do that. So you see how that experience was, everything was free for us. The other side provided everything for us. Okay. The other side guided me on what to say to him. And after we finished that conversation, and we spent a few hours with him, and we hugged him, and he was crying in each one of our arms. And he said it had been so long since he had been hugged by somebody. And that leads me to the next point, which is, sharing joy and passion, that there are so many people in the world that don't have that joy or passion, or that love or support given to them. And when you just simply share a hug with somebody. That can be the biggest gift you can ever give somebody. It truly can. So I want to encourage you to do some of these things. Another thing that you can do is if you're questioning on your abilities, and I know some who may be hearing the replay, this is what's happening, is that when you have when you have a dream, write it down. When you have a thought come to you, write it down. Because I know that there are many of you that listen to this Ask to London, these events, and you're not trusting in your abilities. And I want to say to you that when you write it down, that is where you will have your proof, or you can look back and go, oh my gosh, I heard that, but I ignored it. So when you write it down, you will see that. One of the things that happened for me when I was a child, two things literally. I saw that I would be married and that I would have a green minivan. Remember the years when minivans were the only vehicle you would have back in the 80s, right? 90, early 90s. And I thought, okay, that's really weird. Why would I see this as a teenager? Well, this I kept having this dream, and what ended up happening, I call him my practice husband. I learned a lot from that man, and he ended up I ended up showing him the door after learning some things that were happening while I was in the hospital, having a burst intestine and coming back from the other side. And basically, he was in my life for being lessons and teaching me how strong I was. But when he left, he took both our vehicles, and I had no vehicle, and I had two small children. And so what happened, a lawyer had heard about my story of, coming back from the dead, basically losing 3 feet of intestine, no vehicle. And so what ended up happening was he just had a client who had just died. And in her will, she said that her vehicle was to be given to someone in the community that could really benefit from it. And I was chosen as the one that was going to get the vehicle. Can you guess what it was? It was a green minivan. So that was really a huge confirmation to me many years ago that I had this psychic ability, and wow, like I saw that. And then another thing what happened for me was that as a child, I never had to give speeches in schools because I was always having to have the janitor called because I wouldn't make it to the front of the room and he'd have to come and clean up what had happened. I had been sick. I was so scared and fearful of speaking. And so word quickly spread, don't have Susie talk because you're going to have a mess to clean up. So I never had to give a speech in school, which was great. But then I ended up having, look what I'm doing now. Who knew, right? But anyways, what happened was that I was having dreams as a child standing on a very big stage. And I could never understand, like, that didn't make sense. And it's unfolding now for me. Before I would not see the audience, but now what happens, I can see the detail on them. And so that is that the other side is preparing me for what's coming for me. Now I know some of you are having dreams. Are any of you having dreams? He went on the yes, yeah, you are, yeah, Peter. So write them down because you are being guided on your future. And I can tell you that when I look back over many, many years of the miracles and the magic and the messages that I got, and in the beginning, when I was in, a stressful time and fighting for my life and having Crohn's disease and dying twice and coming back and, going through challenges with divorce and all that kind of stuff, I wasn't in the present moment. I wasn't paying attention, but I can tell you that when I showed my ex the door, I spent 5 years starting to work on myself healing, and that's where I got myself really grounded. Now, here's a tip I want to give each one of you. This is what I do every time I do a talk. I do healing, whatever I'm doing that I need to be present, that has to be very strong with getting messages, you can visualize that you have a cord going from your tailbone right into the ground and have it go right into the center of the earth, and visualize that cord as big as you need it. So when I'm going to be doing big events, I see my cord as big as a tree trunk. So depending on where you're at, I want to encourage you to start doing that, because that is going to be a way when you're grounded of how to help you to connect to the other side. Is this making sense to you guys? Making sense? Okay. So this is something when I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I do, because before I meditate, I want to get very clear messages. Okay. So these are some things you can do. And I also want to encourage you that life is not about routine. Life is about having adventure and doing things new. And I want to encourage you to, go out in nature, do things that you've always wanted to do. It's, life is short. We don't know how long each of us have, right? You people could be hit by a car. There could be a tornado. Not that I'm emphasizing negativity, but I can tell you from my perspective, I woke up one morning and I thought it was going to be a normal day. And I went to a dentist and went to have my wisdom teeth out, and they gave me anesthetic of what I was allergic to. That's the first time I crossed. And the second time, gosh, I got to do math here, about 10 years later, I woke up in the morning and I thought it was going to be a fun, nice day. And I died that day, and it was hours later. We don't know what we have. So I want to say to you, do things new. And if it means even just going for a walk the opposite way around your block, if that's what you have to do that. Learn new things. I am always, always learning new things, because when you learn new things, that helps you grow. But the big thing is that when you are present, I want you to take, if nothing from this call tonight, I want to encourage you to really be aware of all the support and the magic that's happening around you. And when you get yourself present, you will feel that love that you have from others, whether they are around you personally, like a pet, or it could be a grandparent or a sister or a brother that may have crossed, or it could be like generations ago. A lot of ancestors stay with their family. I know for me, there's a lot around all of you, because I actually had to put a jacket on, and this is May. This should be like, we're at the end of May. This is normally summertime, but in my space, I can feel all of your places, and I can feel that you have so much support around you. And what happens to me is I can feel it in the form of coldness. Okay. So if you find that you feel cool or you feel a breeze, that is for you to know that you have them on the other side with you. Okay. That you are not alone. And I think that if people can understand that you are not alone, whether you have a pet with you or a person or a whole lot of them. The colder you get, the more you have with you, I can guarantee. Sometimes I stand in my house like this because it's standing room only, with the amount of times that, it's I got all my ancestors and pets with me, but I have everyone else's pets that have crossed, and other their loved ones, and it's just so magical. So what I would like to do is take you through a meditation. Some of you have been through this with you before, but this is kind of a reminder that what I want to do as I do this with you, I'm going to just to do a process to get you in the present moment. And when I'm doing this, I want you to have a question in your mind of what it is you want to know. Okay? Does that sound good? Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is look right in front of you and find a spot, whether it's, I think, Peter, you're in your car, so you're not driving, right? You're not driving, right? Good. Okay. There's no driving with doing this. So look straight ahead, and you could see, there could be a window, you could have a wall, you could have whatever is right in front of you, where you're not having to put your head down or put your head back, because you're going to focus on this spot the whole time. And just for timing purposes, I'm only going to do this for about 5 to 10 minutes. But what I want to say to you is you can do this as long or as short as you want. Okay. So you've got the spot in front of you now. Okay. So what I want you to do, you've got your question in your mind, what it is that you want to know, or a thought or something. Okay. So what I want you to do now is I want you to look at that spot, and I want you to see everything about that spot. Is it like, what color? Is it, if it's a wall, is there a crack in it? Is there, the paint kind of like chipped, mottled, whatever it is you're looking at, very, very, very detailed. Look at it very, very closely. Okay. And while you're doing this, I've been sending all of you listening to the live call as well as the replay. You're getting healing throughout this. And I started this about 6:30 tonight, just so that you know. Okay. So this will help you also to make this easier for you. Okay. So keep looking at that spot. Okay, so what I want you to do while you keep looking at that spot, don't take your eyes off that spot the whole time, what it is that you hear. Okay, so whatever you hear, listen to it while you're looking at that spot. Okay, okay, so keep looking at that spot. And if you're hearing things, then keep paying attention to if you hear new sounds or if you're hearing the same thing. And then check in and see what you smell. You may smell smoke, cigarette smoke, secondhand smoke. You might smell cologne, baking, um, fragrance, perfumes, burnt supper, coffee. Okay, what is it that you smell? Okay, so now while you are keep looking at the spot, what you hear and what you smell, do you taste anything? Okay, see if you taste anything. Okay, so now keep looking at what you're looking at, see where you're seeing, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste. Now, what do you feel? So I want you to focus in your body, what you feel on your body. It can be inside you, whether that's tight muscles or, achiness, pain, or you're very flexible and loose. Are you relaxed? Okay, let's start with feeling the inside of your body first. And if you're tight somewhere, where are you tight? Because that is a message for you. That is a part of you that is trying to tell you, perhaps, I know someone right now has very tight shoulders and putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Okay, so be aware of where, if you feel tight, where it is. I feel someone has a lower back and they're worrying about money right now as well. Okay, so now what I want you to do is feel what it feels like outside of your body. So, what does it feel around the air around you? What does it feel with sitting where you're sitting? Or if you're laying down, what does it feel under your body? Okay. What do you feel with the temperature, with the environment around you? Okay. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to keep doing the healing on y'all. I'd like for you to share with me what you experienced. So does anyone want to share what they've experienced through that? I know there's a message here on the chat. So you see lots of poison ivy. Oh dear. We'll have a session to discuss that one. Did anybody feel a breeze or coolness around them in the temperature? I see, Laura, you've got your jacket on. Were you feeling cold during that? You can come off mute now.
Yeah. I got really cold when you first started talking.
Oh, did I have that effect on people, right? Yeah, I know I'm just absolutely freezing right now. And my hands are just like ice. And there's no reason for it. So, there's again a sign for you to know that you are so surrounded by the other side, right? So anytime that might be questioning or thinking I can't do this or whatever your thoughts are, just remember this, because when you feel cold, that is them telling you, hey, we're here with you, we're here for you. And the one thing that they're telling me they want to encourage you to do more is ask them for what it is that you need. Okay. So tell them, share your concerns with them, tell them what it is that you need or want. And I can tell you that they will provide you with that. What you have to do is you have to be very aware of the signs, and like you might hear go here. You might say, okay, I go here now. What happens next? And I did this 2 weeks, I guess it was like 3 weeks ago now, that I said to Ross, I want to go to a concert. Now, I don't normally go to concerts. And I don't know if there's any Canadians listening to this, but we're pretty proud of our country boy Tim Hicks. And I had said to Ross that I wanted to go see Tim Hicks, but I didn't want to go to any big concert where, it's like, when we were young kids, how everybody wanted to go to those kind of concerts. I didn't want to go to one like that. And so I literally had said it. And then I heard go to Spotify. And I thought that's really weird. And I went to Spotify. And when I did that, up popped up that Tim was actually doing a fundraiser concert in our area, and it was to like a number like 100 people, and it was a fundraiser for our area, for the school system, to raise more money for educating, helping kids that don't have an education get an education. And it was a phenomenal night, and it was literally like a week away. So do you see how I just put it out there and the other side just said go to your phone, go check Spotify. I didn't question what I heard. I just heard go to Spotify. And so when you do that, trust and have faith that you are being led by your loved ones, by your pets, by your angels, by your spirit guides, and by God. And I tell you that the amount of experiences that I have had in my 61 years of life have just been, I cannot write enough about it because they would be like filling the room of all these books, because it's just like one day after another things happen. So is that something that you can do, Lori, is to talk with them more and listen?
I have been. I got a new cat brought in, and I left it up to them. I haven't had a fight yet.
There you go. Yeah.
So
And
it's working.
another and see, that's perfect because, that's what we did. Many of you know the story about our dog Gus crossing. And what happened with him was that he told me the night before he crossed, we were getting a puppy. And we all know when you hear that, it's coming, right? And so literally the next day, Gussie crossed, and it was 2.5 weeks later that he sent Buddy. And the funny thing is, how we always say, okay, what kind of pet are we going to want to get? What kind of like for us dogs? And so I said, well, I love Shih Tzus and I like Bichons because I've worked on a lot of Bichons that I had a good connection with. Like I have a connection with all of your pets. Don't get me wrong on that, but there was some local ones that I they were like I was anti-Sue to them. Let me just say that. And so what happened was the dog that we got, Buddy, he is the front end Bichon and the back end Shih Tzu. He's got the nose of a Shih Tzu, a Bichon, and the tail of a Shih Tzu. And so, the other side listens when we say what we need, but they also bring us the right pet that is right for us. Whether, there's a lot of you that are healers on the call, and you will get the animals that need the love and your patience and your healing. And then, you'll know they'll just show up. Now, Lori, how did this little new one come into your life?
Maze, am I unmuted?
No, you're good. You're
He
good.
is
Yes.
actually, he's actually my cat's niece.
Okay.
So, my niece, Jamie, had this cat and she's going through a marriage problem. So the cat was was not going to be able to go with her, and my sister was on her way down the mountain to come to get the cat, and the kit he's a cat, he's 1 year old,
Okay.
but and Henry's 3, so it was the same letter. It says, but anyway, there was one of those situations where the cat was going somewhere that day, and my sister on the way down decided,
Mm.
I wonder if anybody talked to Lori. She has a perfect place, and then anyway,
Yeah.
so like it said, you picked your dog, but I wouldn't have picked this cat. Believe me, I wouldn't. I
Yeah.
would never.
And
I always said I would never have a long haired cat. I didn't want a female cat. It's like, guess what I got?
it's the best one for you, right? And don't get me wrong, like I didn't pick Gussie or Buddy. Gussie picked Buddy, and we just were having a conversation that these are the breeds. I mean, I love all animals.
uh,
In fact, if I could have a house full of them, um, I would. But
they are
you can't
cute.
do that where we live. You're only allowed to have, I think, two pets. So that'll be my next adventure. That we'll have I want to have a like a kind of a horse ranch for animals that need rescuing and stuff like that. They can do pet therapy with people that need healing and stuff like that. That's one of my goals. But yeah, so do you see how that happened? And like for me, getting Buddy, I had a 1.5 hour window in my whole week, and I had said to the store owner at the pet store, I need you to help me. Guess he's going to send his replacement. Be open, be aware. And she literally said that she came on my show, and you see one of those shows too. Her name is Kyla Gibson, and so we talked about animal adoption, and I think this Gus's story or something like that is the podcast. You can see them on there on YouTube. But anyways, what happened? She said she felt that she had to go up to this man and talk to him, and she said she never did that before until she met me. And then she thought, well, I should just give this a go and see what happens. And she felt she needed to talk to this man. And this man was not sure what to do, who to talk to, but he'd gone in that store looking for help to get this dog rehomed into a home that was going to give the dog love and healing, because this dog, to his shock, his brother had given his parents that were 92 this 8 week old puppy, but he's now 22 months at this point. uh, the wife had dementia and the husband had Alzheimer's disease. They didn't even know they had a dog for all that time. They forgot. They just mentally were not well. And so he had gone in there and he said, yes, can you find the right person for my dog and my parents' dog? And she said, there's only one person. And then that was me. And so then when I went, Literally, I have like at the front door there's a table, but it's back, it's not like where a wind would blow. It was like by the door, and there was a holder where pamphlets were in, and about me being a hospice pet doula. And so the one pamphlet out of the whole container, you know, I'm talking about these plastic containers, right? You know, the holders I'm talking about. One pamphlet came out of it. You know, you see it on cartoons, like it floats across the room. It landed on the man's foot with my face up. And the man looked down, and I'm looking beside the man, and here's my dog Gussie wagging his tail on the other side. And so the man looked down, he says, "This is you. Please take my dog." And so that's how all that happened, how we got Buddy. And but this is where I said to this girl, you know, please just listen, watch the signs. And if you feel like you need to talk to someone or whatever, like just listen, watch, because I feel like Gus is going to use you to make this all happen. And he did. So each one of you have got magic and miracles around you and so much more. So thank you, Lori, for sharing that and you know what you're experiencing being cold. So, you know, always remember that feeling, okay, if you ever feel like you're alone, because you know, you are an amazing person. And you know, that's great that you're having that happen. Now, Joanne, one of the questions I know you had asked me was, how do I know? What did you ask me? How do I know about past life? So, what has happened in my life is that as I work on myself and as I clear negativity, and you know, I you know, made my eating better, and you know, I do not drink alcohol, I do not eat sugar, I don't eat junk food, there's no preservatives, nothing's processed, everything's from scratch, organic. I eat very clean diet. I make sure that I walk a mile a day, I do tai chi, you know, the whole mind, body, soul connection. And as you do these kinds of things and meditate and you know, work on yourself and you know, clear the things around not being able to look in the mirror and say I love you, like that was my journey, then your vibration goes higher. Do you understand, all of you, what I mean by your vibration goes up? It's like your energy's going higher. And so the more that I work on myself, and this is my life passion, is that I always want to be the best I can be. And it's not about for someone else, it's about for me. Because in my lifetime, I've lost my health a couple times. In fact, I've lost it 3 times. One, the other time, what I don't think many of you know about, is that I had a period in my life where I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair and on crutches for 2 years of my life because I was given such high doses of steroids with having Crohn's disease. And one day I hit the gas pedal and I broke all the bones in my right foot. And they were talking about actually amputating my foot. And so what happened was, I'm a strong-willed Sagittarius, and when someone tells me I can't do something, that's where my stubbornness kicks in. It's like, and I will find the answer. I will find the answer. And so even having that happen, it took me on a real spiritual growth that led me into not being able to find a foot surgeon in Ontario, Canada, because all our surgeons had gone to the States. And so there was only one surgeon. And what had happened for me was that I had a client come that morning. And this one particular morning, she was late. She was apologizing. But what happened was her brother had been in a very severe car accident the night before. And she had just picked him up from being at a foot surgeon. And so what happened, she connected me to the surgeon, and I reached out to him. And long story short, he got me in within 4 months. I saw the surgeon. He was Chinese. And right away, they were telling me I was going to have my foot amputated. It was so bad. And so we talked about that. And he said, have you ever heard of this stuff, this healing modality called Reiki? And he said, and I said, I do Reiki. I'm a Reiki master and that. And he says, well, start doing Reiki on yourself. And he says, watch your diet. And he's giving me the alternative way to heal myself. And that's exactly what I did. And I started on this journey of watching even the creams I put on my face. And I discovered there was actually makeup that had no chemicals, nothing, no garbage in it. And so, you know, it cost us a little fortune, but it was worth it for me to have my body really pure. So I'm going in a lot of detail about this, but what I want you to know is when you eat healthy, when you clear stuff that you might have been using like shampoos and sulfites and stuff like that, your vibration goes higher. And so as your vibration goes higher, new abilities and abilities that you have always had that were buried in you with all this stuff piled on top where it was chemicals and preservatives and emotions and so much more, when you clear that, it opens you up for your abilities to come out. And so, it started for me a long time ago that I guess I was probably a teenager that I would go places and I was feeling like I was having kind of like a deja vu. And what was happening, then I meet Mr. Ray Ross, my hubby. Now we've been together for 23 years, and we'd go places and I'd say to him, do you feel like we've been here before? Or I'd go somewhere, especially in the States, in the southern states, and I would start talking with a southern accent. And he's like, why are you talking so funny? Like, you're not American. And what's going on here? And so then I discovered as in kindergarten that I got around someone, I would pick up accents. I had a friend that was Chinese. My parents rented out their basement to a couple from Germany. My parents had friends in southern states. So I had every one of these languages going within me. And it was all really confusing for me. But that's where I learned about abilities that I had, and they started coming out as I did all this work on me. So when I was having these moments of feeling like I'd been somewhere before, that's where it started for me. And then it was that Ross and I, we did have past life regression because I kept saying we've been together forever, like we could finish sentences from day one. And I had gone through a pretty bad divorce, and I thought I'm never going through this again. Like, no way, I'm done. And then things all unfolded about me meeting Mr. Right, and coming together and that. And I know when I came back from my second near death experience, I was told that there would be someone that would be at my side supporting me and going on the journey with me. And so that's who God and my angels chose, was this man who happened to have the same first name as my grandfather, and I had the same first name as his grandma, his favorite grandma. And we have been places, and we would go, and I would get films in my mind or visions or sceneries of Ross and I being there in other lifetimes. We've been together every lifetime for centuries. And we can go and say, yeah, remember, I remember that. And so now this is what happens for us. It gets stronger and stronger. And with animals and with pets, I can see the connection. If there is a connection between a pet owner and their pet, some there are not, some there are. And I can see, like, there was one client that I kept seeing that she was dressing her pet in Victorian clothes, her cat, and it kept coming to me around the clock for weeks, and I was having to text her. And then as she discovered that there were pictures of a girl uh, putting clothes on, and it was her. And so it's just interesting that that's how it got stronger. And so my abilities get stronger. And now what happens to me now is that I go to our waterfront every day and I journal. And when I go there now, it's like I'm now seeing, like, I can blink or I can move my eyes, and all of a sudden the scene, like, I feel like I'm kind of in the twilight zone. I flash, and I can see what's going to be the water situation and the environment in 100 years is going to be like around here. And it's not good. And so these, I get visions of this as well now. So we all have abilities, and when I'm working with someone, it literally channels through me exactly what I have to say. I don't ever put myself into that. I just, whatever is supposed to be said. Sometimes people will say, well, that's not me, or it's not going to happen. But then they come back and they will tell me, well, yeah, that happened last week or whatever. So that's where, you all have abilities, and you have to trust it within yourself. And the one thing I want to say to you, because I feel like there is someone going to be listening to the replay, um, and SC, this is actually for you. What happened to me when I was in my 30s was that I had gone to school with someone, and we were in kindergarten together all through school. and we had kind of reunited, just bumped into each other in a grocery store in our local town where we all grew up. And so she asked me what I was doing. I was saying, and so she said, "Oh, you get messages. Well, prove it." Now, as a healer, I want to say to you, if you ever have someone say to you, "Prove it," don't do it. Okay. Because they will not believe in you, whatever you say. Okay. So what happened to me was I said, "Sure. What do you want to know?" And so she wanted to know that she wanted me to prove that her grandma was there. And so I just, turned my head because grandma was right beside her. And she said she wanted to know what grandma's favorite necklace was. And so I told her. And then she said, "You're a liar. You're fake. You're a fraud." I was horrified. And so then what happened was she said my grandmother never wore a necklace like that. She always wore a pearl necklace. That was her favorite necklace. And for about 5 years, I shut down my abilities because I thought I was wrong and I questioned so much about my identity and everything that I had happened to me and throughout my whole life. And so what ended up happening, I was actually doing a fundraiser talk for a Wish Foundation. And I was just about getting ready to go on stage and do the talk. And then this lady came over to me and she said, I'm being guided to give you a message from Johnny. Now, Johnny was a man that was like a second dad to me, and we were very close. And so when she said Johnny, I knew she was, the real deal. And she said, "You need to know that that necklace, you were right, and that friend was so jealous of you and of your abilities that she said that to do that to you." And what had happened was the necklace that I saw that was the favorite was broken, and it was in the drawer, and the woman never wore it because the husband never got it fixed. And so don't ever, ever, ever question your abilities like I did, because I wasted a few years there that I could have helped so many more people. But when we doubt ourselves, we will attract the people like that to question ourselves. So you want to watch where your thoughts are and your abilities. And I know when I say things that it is the right thing, and I trust, and I because I let everything channel through me. So I feel like that some of you listening are really struggling with stepping out, stepping into your power, and stepping into your greatness and shining your light. And I want to encourage you, if you're on this call, whether it is you're here live or you're listening to the replay, this is your time to shine your light in so many ways. Okay, so I want to leave you with that. Now, Peter, did you have anything that you wanted to share or ask me?
You mentioned that you started with the energy around well, for me it would be 3:30, I guess 6:30 your time. And I
Yeah,
was hiking with the dogs. I was a couple miles up the mountain
yeah.
and I thought, "Oh, I'm hearing my sound," because I hear a high-pitched sound. It's been coming and then it may go for like a week or two. And so I heard and
Right.
I thought, "Well, that's probably the insects." And then as I got to the car, closed the doors, I heard it. And then when we did the meditation, it came on more strongly. And so I hear it a lot. I don't know exactly, what it means, but it's very comforting. And I know that it brings me to that place of presence and stillness.
So what happened to me years ago is I was really growing. I like at a point where, like, what I mean, like really growing, and you are too. We both know you're really growing now, right? And so what would happen to me is I would hear this like a buzzing noise in my ears, and I didn't know if I had like something wrong with my hearing. I couldn't focus on anything else around me because of this noise. Then, as I grew even higher in my vibration, it turned into being like almost sounding like angel harps, like just that kind of that sound. And then it was like ringing bells. So
Mhm.
you are really growing in your vibration, and like, are you seeing the abilities that are opening up in you now? Like you have stuff
Well,
happening. I know that.
I am running into people who, you know, they're just kind of opening up, and it's bizarre because I've never really shared, what I do and my spiritual interests, and so people are sort of popping up left and right. And
Yeah.
I was at at a retreat for academics, and I read some of my poetry that deals with nature and spirituality, and they were all very, very receptive to it. And I was, surprised. I wasn't going to read, but I did, and so I'm getting a lot of that things happening around me in terms of my work, the academic, where I'm
Mhm.
working with formerly incarcerated students, and they're just opening up, and I just feel like there's a new family coming to me, and I can be there for them, and not so much to help them, but to be with them and to come and allow the energy to come through, and also learn a lot from them myself.
Well, and you're a phenomenal teacher in your career anyways, but now you're stepping into your true self. And that's where you haven't been able to do that for many years, right? And
That's
so
true. That
now,
yeah.
right? And so now you're stepping into your true self, and it's like God, his angels are seeing that, you are doing this. And now, like how Ross and I get all these trips and to go here and help people and pets, they God and his angels are sending the people that you are to help. And so I would suggest keeping track of how it unfolds and see, what messages you have to give them, because you have a lot of messages in you that you're giving people, and it's just coming through you, because I feel like it's channeling through you. Do you feel that? You just like, it's kind of like, where'd that come from kind of feeling?
I'm opening up to it because I've never acknowledged it, but I'm opening up to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do a practice with a meditation buddy. She's in Seattle, and every morning now at 6:30 we wake up, so I transmit, and then for 15 minutes then she'll transmit. And so I don't
Perfect.
feel as I'm not as sensitive, but I've heard from other people that they can feel the energies in various ways, and sometimes it comes on strongly.
You are very gifted. And I would never lie to you about that. You are very, very gifted. And so the more that you kind of let go of the stuff that's been, the stuff I'm talking about, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
When you let
Yes.
go of that, and then you just focus on, what is it you want me to do today? Okay, I want to do your work. Guide me with where you want me to go. And just like it can be something so simple as, one day I heard, go to the grocery store, and I thought, okay, but I don't need anything. Why am I going? And I just heard, go to the grocery store. And I went, and I'm in the parking lot. I thought, okay, I don't need anything. Where am I? Why am I here? And I saw a lady glowing. And I thought, okay, so she's the reason I'm here. And so then all of a sudden, I saw a vision of me giving her a hug. And that's what I had to do, and tell her she was loved, and that she was giving all her money to her kids, that they were taking that money and going on 4 trips in a year. And she didn't even have enough money to buy groceries. But she thought, as a mother, that's what she was supposed to do. So, you watch, and that's why I say write it down, because you watch what is it that you are seeing as signs? Like, how are you knowing that that's where you're supposed to go? Like with me, I hear it, I see the vision as another way. I go and I might just feel like that's the person, or I might feel like I see them glowing. They can get very bright to me. um so be aware, like watch that, because that's where it'll make it easier for you, because you are on one amazing journey, and your writing is really going to channel a lot of information and inspiration to people too, by the way. So if when you're being creative, that's where you'll have more things happen. And like I'm channeling an article a week now, and you'll see a new article every week on my website. And I when I sit down, I don't know what I'm going to write, and it just comes through me. And right now they're having me share the importance of love, and that, love yourself, love, share your love, these kind of areas. Be grateful for your pet, be grateful for yourself, and what is in front of you, like even the small thing. Like we went out for a walk today, and my yellow roses, the whole rose bush was covered in all these buds. And that was crazy exciting for me, because what happens in our area is we get, I don't, what are they called? Like, they're bugs. I can't think, Japanese beetles. That's what they're called. And they eat everything that has green leaves. They go through the whole, like not just your house, but the whole area, like blocks and towns. That's what they've been doing the last 5 years. So when I saw that I had roses, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to quickly do this. And Ross, go get a bucket because I want to pick them all now. And so in our bedroom, there's roses beside each side of our bed. They're in the bathroom. They're all over the place. So, do what brings, have you surrounded with the things that make you shine is what I want to say, right? Like have, the things that bring a smile to your face. Those things are very important, right? And Peter, you're just, it's in 6 months, it's going to be a whole new world for you, even bigger. So I'm really honored when I see you every time because I know that you've got so much stuff coming on. And I'm just grateful that I was being able to be on your path and you'll go, oh yeah, I remember her. So that's where you're heading, my friend. So I look forward to reading more of your poems, but there's more to write. So
Thank you.
so on that note, is there any other questions anyone wants to ask? I just want to make sure, like, do you need some homework or everyone kind of knows what to do? I think that the main message here is that to trust what you see, what you feel, what you hear. And that meditation that guided meditation I took you through, that is on my website. And that you can click on that, it will take you through. And that was something that I actually learned when I had Crohn's disease and my first hospital stay. And here's the crazy thing. So this nurse came into my room and she said to me, I'm going to help you get away from your pain. And this is what she did. She had me use all my senses. And the next day, I thought, wow, I don't have any pain in my body. Like, this is great. When people have Crohn's disease, there's a lot of pain with that and other unpleasant symptoms. And so, not to have pain was like crazy fantastic. So, I remember saying to the nurse that came in the next morning, I'm so grateful. I just want to tell this nurse, I'm so grateful for her. And I explained, her name, what she looked like. And they said, there's nobody on the staff with that name or that description. And that woman just was sent to me as an angel. And I can tell you that many of you that are listening live and recordings have come into contact with people that actually are angels, and they have been sent to you to help you in different situations. So when you have somebody come in touch with you that you just feel this love and this support from them, just know that that is not your normal being. And I've had this happen about 6 times in my life now, and they've always showed up when I've needed them the most. It's kind of like that show Touched by an Angel. Yeah, remember that show years ago that we used to watch? That is exactly what happens. So each one of you are protected. Each one of you are so surrounded by so much love and so much more that, the more that you work on yourself and say, I love you, look in the mirror. And I can remember like standing in front of the mirror and I would, do whatever you had to do to be able to say that and build your confidence. Right. And so I remember one day I was standing there and going, oh my gosh, Sue, I love you so much. Oh, your hair looking so good today. And then I finished doing my thing. And then I went out in the hall and I heard my daughter, who was like 8 years old, saying, oh, your hair's so beautiful. And I thought she was listening to me, but she started doing that every day. So if you're on my calls, just know that you are an example to others, and that sometimes you can say the simplest or the craziest or the funniest thing, but people are watching you and they're learning from you. And ultimately, you are all healers. And some of you know that already, some of you do not. But I want to assure you that each one of everyone on this call and everyone I encounter have abilities that will just get stronger the more that you can let go of the stuff that's holding you back, the negative stuff, or the focus on the wrong stuff, or that. Let the people have their dramas. Focus on yourself, your passion, your love. and you will just have a life of magic and miracles. And my husband always introduces me as his mirror is what's he called? He calls me his adventure. This is not, I'm not his wife. I'm his adventure because he never knows what we're going to do next, and I love it. I love, being able to say that and hearing my husband talk about me like that. So that's what I want ultimately for you too, to have to be have an adventure and live a life, because we've only got one life in this time. There's other past lives and that, but this is the life ultimately to live to the fullest and be happy and joyful, and shine your light, because Lori, you brought this cat into your life, and you've helped that cat already in so many ways that you're not aware of, and I thank you for that. And Peter, look what you've done with those dogs. It's just been incredible, and I had tears in my eyes when I read your email earlier, when you were telling me about what my healing was doing for your dogs. And I was so grateful when I was reading that. And Joanne, I want you to know that you are never alone, that your baby is with you at all day and night. And that when you feel that coolness, know that your baby's there, and that that little puppy's not going to leave you ever. And I know it's really hard when you lose a pet. And, when you do the things that we've been talking about tonight, you will feel him again. You will feel that love and support, that they are there with you. He, she, other many other animals. It's like a zoo in my house that I sometimes am picking up my feet because there's so many animals around me, and it's a wonderful experience, and I'm grateful for every moment. So, on that note, I want to say thank you for joining me. Now, I will. What happens is I get guided with what the topics are supposed to be, and I should know by the weekend, because that's when they have me get over this talk, and then they give me the talk what it's going to be by probably about by the weekend. So I will post that on my website, asksuelondon.com. And I am attempting to learn a new technology newsletter program. So I'm hoping to get that working. So y'all can say a prayer for me on that one. Sue and technology, sometimes the energy that comes through me is so strong, I shut things down. And my producer for my show, he's always like, you've got like ghosts around you, Sue. And then we went on a trip together, and then he started seeing them. He's like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with you anymore. But anyways, it's all great, but we're all at different levels. And I just want to say I love each one of you. I'm very grateful for you. I'm proud of each one of you. And I want to encourage you to shine your light, because it will make an amazing, wonderful life for you ahead of what's coming for you. So I will send out the replay to everyone about this, in case there's something that you wanted to rehear again or something. And just watch by, I would say, by Monday. So today's Tuesday. So by next Monday, it will be posted, the next one. And just check that out. I love having you on the calls and ask your questions. There's nothing you can't ask me. Ask me anything that you want to know. I'm an open book, and I will help you with whatever it is you need help with. Okay, so I wish you all much love and many blessings, and I'm giving you all a big kiss and hug. I'll see you real soon.
Thank you.